Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Chris coming at you with another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast, where we talk about personal development and business on one podcast. This is episode number 63. So if that sounds like something that you want to tune into or want to hear more about, we drop a new episode every single Monday of the week. Start your week off right with some positivity and some really good information and knowledge. With that being said, today we have a very special guest on today, another guest. A little bit about this guest. He is the founder of the Black Seed Group, founder of Phenyx Athletica, co-owner of Zion Beard Care, and he's also a stock investor, and he's also got some other projects that he has as well, and we'll definitely get into that. Welcome my guest, Ogechukwu Madu. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Did I pronounce that good enough?
Yeah, Oge is typically it.
Okay,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, bro. I seen on your story recently today that you're doing a cleanse, a 4 day cleanse, man. What kind of cleanse is that? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So as far as the cleanse go, man, like how it even started. So obviously with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
people are inside. You can't really work as much as you want to, and you start gaining weight, right? So like with me, one of the ways I was able to kind of like either lose weight or keep my weight at a level that I want is playing basketball. So with
Mm.
COVID, all of the gyms have pretty much been shut down. You know what I mean? So that has been my, like I said, that's pretty much my source of cardio. I don't run or hit the
Mm.
treadmill or anything like that. So then I stepped on it. Like I was in Atlanta this past weekend, and I stepped on that scale. It said 242. I was like, oh hell no! I got to clear out some. I was like, I got to clear
Mm.
out something. So literally the next day, this Sunday, I was like, all right, let me just go on a cleanse because I've done it before. I've lost like
Mm.
30 pounds 3 times before, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not anything new for me. But I was just like, all right, this was that pain point that clicked. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, cool. I just got to make sure I got to do this. So Sunday I started it, and pretty much I'm just eating like fruits, like apples and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and then just like nuts, like cashews and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, no like solid, like true solid
Yeah.
food. I'm just drinking water. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm on day 4 now. I don't know if I don't know if I want to, because I don't really have a deadline, right? Like I might do something where I might stop tomorrow or I might stop Friday, right? I'm definitely going to start by Saturday because Saturday is my birthday. But
Oh.
uh, yeah, so I'll just like, let me go ahead and kind of reset a little
Yeah.
bit. And kind of like after like next week, I could tone it down a little bit as far as
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know for myself, it's funny that you brought up hooping because I haven't hooped in about 7 months, as you know, with COVID and all that. I hooped for the first time last week, and bro, the next day my whole body was sore, like I just got beat up or something like that, something crazy. I'm like, damn, I'm out of shape and everything. So, but for me, I also do a water cleanse as well, a water fast. So I don't know if you've ever tried that, but I'll do like 24 hours, 48 hours with just straight water. That's it. You
Yeah,
know?
I've done something similar. Well, I did an extreme one where it was like literally no food for 5 days
Mm-hmm.
fast. Like the only thing I had, like it was one of those like detox kits. So you had
Mm.
like, some of these like powders that you would kind of like
Yeah.
take for nutrient purposes, but past that, like literally no food for 5 days. And that was, I'll never do that shit again.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. I know when I did the 48-hour water cleanse, man, it starts hitting you. It's like, damn, I got to eat something, man.
Yeah.
So, but it's good, like you said, it's good to kind of restart your body, especially with flu season coming up. A lot of people expect to get sick, but fasting and cleansing yourself is a really good way to prevent that.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, bro, I wanted to have you on to so you can share your story, share, your upbringing, where you come from, and share, kind of your journey and your past to entrepreneurship and how you got to your current level of success.
Yeah. Born and raised in Houston, Texas. My parents are immigrants. They immigrated here from Nigeria. So first generation Nigerian American. Um, growing up, a lot of the things that I've learned has been like having obviously pride in self,
Mm-hmm.
and in a sense, you don't really think about it as a time as a kid, but just like understanding that ownership deal. Because I think whenever they finally bought a house out here, I was probably like 8 years old. Um, so grew up through here. Um, Went to college in San Antonio and got an electrical engineering degree. Graduated from there. Went to work. Got a nice little job out in West Texas. Um, from there, I kind of was working by myself. So it was a small town in West Texas, like 10,000 people, right? That's where I kind of like bought my first house, and that's where that whole
Mm-hmm.
ownership thing kind of like really hit home. Um, I would say like a few months later, literally after I bought that house, I got a new job opportunity back in the Houston area, and I was working at a refinery for like the next 3 years. And then during that time frame, I got my MBA from Pepperdine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so once I completed that, I moved back into the city or into the city of Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and was working downtown for another oil company. And yeah, literally was today the 11th,
11th, yeah.
the seventh makes a year that I've been
Wow.
a full time entrepreneur because it was crazy because they actually laid me off, but in a sense, it kind of like did me a favor because like the whole plan for me was to do a like take my bonus in February of this year and just
Mm-hmm.
quit because
Mm.
like me, I knew that I already made like a pact with myself like 2 years ago that um, I would not be in the corporate world by the time I'm 30, which
Mm.
is Saturday. I just didn't want to be in a place where I'm stuck working at a job that I honestly, even though it was good money, I don't like. And then at be at a point where I'm in a sense reporting to someone else, and
Right, right.
had, like, if I were to have a family, oh, can I take off to take my kids to school or to go to their basketball? Like I don't want to do that
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's really not me. And honestly, like it's always been this internal flame inside of me that would never die down because I've always had this like internal struggle of why am I working? Because I
Yeah.
wanted to do this the right way of, you work at your job, you do your side hustles, and you want your side hustles to match pay wise with what your job was. And I was like I said, I was making good money. I was making six figures. So like I was trying to do it the quote unquote right way, but it just didn't work out like that. Like I was making money, but nothing anywhere close to what I was doing with the nine to
Mm-hmm.
five stuff. But like I said, even with the 9 to 5, that was one thing that always like was funneling the things I would do to the side, like
Yep.
me starting obviously my fitness line, me starting in a sense my investment company, and now my beard care company as
Mm-hmm.
well. Um, all that is like stuff that I didn't just start. Like I was always doing like actively doing these things, and
Mm-hmm.
it went from a side hustle to now a full time hustle because I'm now able to dedicate certain amount of hours to each of
Mm-hmm.
those stuff instead of me just working the 9 to 5. Take a quick break to work out, hoop, and then from then, work on the side hustles wherein,
Mm-hmm.
I'm damn near drained. I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
still doing it, it's stuff that I like to do regardless. But like instead of me making it 8 hours dedicated to those, stuff, is more like three to 4 hours on a back end of me being tired.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, you mentioned, them by them laying you off, it kind of did you a favor. What was that favor? Is it like that gives you that motivation to like, yo, I gotta really make this thing happen, or what was it?
No, not in that sense.
Okay.
So I was able to get they gave me a severance package. So
Got you.
I was able to get I was able to get pretty much the money I would have got from a bonus just
Mm,
earlier. And then on top of
mm,
that, I was able to claim unemployment too.
mm,
So it was like a bonus in a sense because if I quit, you don't get
mm,
like, unemployment if
mm.
you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty much I got my bonus and all that stuff early. That's
Got you, got you, got you. And what were some of the? Well, let me ask you this: are there any entrepreneurs in your family? Like, where did this entrepreneurship bug kind of come from? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of, I mean, not a lot of us, all of the entrepreneurs, we think differently, and you got to damn near be a little crazy to go into entrepreneurship. So, where did this come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you see it from somebody? Where was this exposure created from?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say, I mean, it's my parents in general, but like my mom,
Mm-hmm.
she was, a nurse, and then
Mm-hmm.
ended up branching out and starting her small home healthcare business, and extremely well with that. So like being able to see that, I'm sure inspired a lot, and inside of me, just seeing that as well,
Mm-hmm.
because um, just you see the struggle that they go through, but also being successful with it. It just kind of like does something internally for you. But what's crazy is like even though like she's an entrepreneur and she's done well with that, she would rather me just have like that safe, secure job,
Yeah, yeah.
which is like
I
mind.
I I know, not to cut you off. I have a couple Nigerian friends, and they tell me, and they're entrepreneurs. They tell me like, look, our parents they raise us, and they kind of want us to be like doctors and lawyers and whatnot. That's kind of where they want us to go. And when you become an entrepreneur, I mean, I'm not gonna say they kind of look at you different. Like, yo, we want you to have that secure job, like you were talking about. So I can only imagine you were possibly in the same situation.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely because the thing is she knows what she went through
Mm-hmm.
growing that business, like all
True.
the in a sense pain and all that
Yeah.
stuff to go through that. So, when it comes to your kids, you don't really
Gotcha.
see them go through that same
Mm-hmm.
situation. But like for me, it's like, hey, yo, this is freedom. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna do whatever it takes. And like I said, I just knew pretty much about 3 years ago that being in a corporate world wasn't my lifelong deal. Like I wasn't gonna
Yeah.
be in it very long.
Absolutely. So your transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. Talk about that transition. Talk about maybe some of the challenges that you had, maybe mentally, or just whatever the challenges that you had. Talk about those.
So with that, I mean, first things first is like I'm very grateful that I've always been good with my money.
Mm,
I've always saved, a crazy, a decent amount of money every single paycheck. So in a sense, paying yourself first in that aspect, that has been very important. And the reason why I say that is when I got laid off, man, that first pretty much from November to January, it was like a reset. Like I was
mm,
like I've been working for so long, waking up at 5 in the morning and doing all this stuff, having that routine of having to be somewhere to now it's up to me
yep.
to make sure that this stuff
Yep.
gets done. And so honestly, that first 2 months, I didn't do shit. Like I
Mm,
was sleeping in, like not that I was lost, but I felt
mm.
like I was just almost in a sense resetting and trying to my body was trying to get used to this new reality of
Interesting.
what was about to happen. So I finally, in a sense, kind of clicked back into gear about January. Yeah, about January of this year, early or late January, early February of this year. And from there, like I had purchased a house that um, I was build. I'm still in the process too, but like to build here in Houston. It was what would be considered a tear down, but I was gonna pretty much rebuild it brand new, so everything in there was gonna be
Mm,
brand new. And I built it with the intent of having a spare unit in the back that I could do Airbnb out of, and that cuts my
mm,
expenses to damn near zero. So that was the smart play of me, what
mm,
of what I was trying to do. Now, during this whole process, like the contractor that I've been working with, like there's been so many delays that I have not been able to get into that home. So like
Mm,
one of the things I was planning to do, you know, with that home was, for one, it was supposed to be done within like a 6 months worst case scenario
mm,
time frame. It's going to refinance out of that, get a lower rate, so that I can actually make a true profit with the Airbnb side of things, and and then not have to worry about my living expense. But instead, I'm paying damn near 1,700 a month on something that I'm not living in. You know what I
mm,
mean? So I'm instead of not paying anything or making a little bit of cash, I'm going to paying all this money for something I'm not staying in. So that's where the whole savings things has kind of like saved me. You know what I
mm,
mean? Because if not was not the case, I would have been screwed in that
mm,
aspect. But with that, like I said, like kind of like going back into the entrepreneur part of things, it's just readjusting to how everything works, because like I said, I've always been working on my own projects and products and all that stuff, but now it's all about how long am I working on these different
mm.
things. Because a lot of times a lot of people ask me, how the hell you have time to run a
Right.
business or a company, this and that. And to me, it's like I feel like internally that's just it comes to me second nature. But I
Mm,
do a multitude of things of you know having a planner where I pretty much write down daily tasks of what I needed to do that day, start checking off task items on that list, and over time you kind of see the progress of what's been happening.
mm, mm,
Because with the planner that I use, you have your monthly goals, your weekly goals that you're trying to hit, and then obviously the daily, and then every week you just see what are the five goals you were able to hit that you're surprised with. What are the next five goals for this week you want to hit. So being able to document a lot of the process is something that I've learned to do over this past year.
mm.
And I think as I begin to grow, that would be something where if I were to write like an autobiography or something, like I'd be like, all right, here, boom.
Yeah.
This is what all I did to make stuff happen. So this definitely was an adjustment, but I don't regret at all
Right.
not trying to find a job, or because it's been stressful. It's still stressful now. Like I'm still not
Mm-hmm.
making the type of money that I was making in a corporate role, but in a sense, it feels like I'm real close. Like there's so
Yeah.
many people that I have going on that they're gonna start clicking over the
Yeah.
year, and then it's like it was the right choice not to be at a
Mm,
desk, working for somebody else. You know what I mean?
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you brought up a couple things that are big. I mean, the first thing that you brought up was kind of the time management, waking up, whether you do it the night before or in the morning, writing down the things you need to get done. That's something I do as well. Before I go to sleep, I have a list of things I need to get done tomorrow, and my goal is to knock them all out, obviously, the next day. And then setting up weekly goals, monthly goals, and then those yearly goals. Because
Right.
2021 is coming up, everybody's gonna have New Year's resolutions and whatnot, which is great. But it's great for other people. But you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna get there? What is this step by step process? And I think breaking it down day to day, week to week, month to month is a great way to reach those goals. Um, so yeah, that's pretty dope that you do that. I wanted to ask. So this year was, you know, you coming into 2020 expecting this for it to be a phenomenal year. You're an entrepreneur. COVID hits. What was that for like for you? I know you probably tapped into a little bit of it, but what was your mindset? Like, what were you thinking? What were your emotions going into what was this pandemic that we're still in till this day?
Right.
I know you guys out. By the way, I know you guys out in Texas. You guys doing whatever you guys want. Out here in Cali, we're still on lockdown. Still got to wear masks and all that. So
I mean, in Texas, we're still wearing masks and stuff like that, but a lot of like
yeah,
our business
yeah,
establishments are still open versus
right.
stuff like that. I mean, overall, like with the pandemic happening, it didn't adjust too much the
Got
things
you.
that I was doing because I was already, in a sense, in that entrepreneur route, and most of my stuff
Mm-hmm.
I was doing from home anyways. I'm either looking at property when I'm doing real estate stuff, or I'm at home, kind of like working through, different test items. So in that aspect, I didn't really have to change much. Obviously, like if I were was working somewhere, I'm sure I would have probably been like having to go in the office. Like you never know if you had to go in the office or not for the first, couple of months, and then they finally let everybody work at home. But yeah, I just kind of like focus to create more digital assets.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so with that, you don't have to worry about um, manufacturers because like if you like with clothing brands and stuff, if you do a lot of them custom in a bulk order way, typically your manufacturer is overseas. Well,
Mm-hmm.
shoot, like once the pandemic hit, all the borders got shut down. So all this
Yep.
orders that came in that I wasn't able to fulfill for a while because COVID hit, and when the factory expected to open up, they didn't open up until maybe a month later, and so like having to in a sense, kind of have like this customer service, keeping
Mm-hmm.
people up to date with what's going on, so that they don't get pissed. And with COVID happening, that obviously like people understood, what was going on. But for me, it's like trying to make sure that people are informed when coming in, because customer service is really, really important to me with
Absolutely.
the business that I do have. So that's definitely something. Even with that, I took a big risk with my investment company. We hosted a wealth conference in
Mm-hmm.
August, and and an in-person one, not a virtual one, an in-person one here in Houston. And it turned out pretty well. We had over 70 people come out,
Wow.
had speakers from all over the country, kind of like come to spit that real estate knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a successful event that I was able to throw. With COVID, I was scared, like, because it got to a point where they were talking about possibly reclosing stuff in Houston, but pushed through. Like I said, it was a very, very smooth, very, very successful event. And yeah, I just while COVID in a sense is a bad thing, when you're talking about things that were changing in a negative way, there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there wasn't that much.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't that
Yeah.
much.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned digital assets. I see that you created a personal finance book called 10 Reasons Why You Are Living Senseless. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so probably like 3 years ago, um, you know, personal finances, like I said, I've always in the sense been good with my money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 20, 29, about to be 30. And back then, a lot of people, my age was 27, either
Mm-hmm.
good or you're not good with your money. You know what I mean? So with me is I'm always trying to figure out a way, how can I best help, in a sense, the masses. And
Mm-hmm.
so I came up with this book, 10 Reasons Why You're Living Senseless, to kind of like help people understand, hey, these are the areas where you're spending the money the most likely. These are actionable tips that you could do to reduce those spendings. And a lot of the things that in the book it talks about, like sacrifice, like something you might want to be in a one bed. Sure, I'm in it right now. Like you might want to
Mm-hmm.
be in a one bedroom apartment by yourself, but it might make more sense to either have roommates, or
Mm-hmm.
if you can live at home, with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's temporary. You got to understand that it's temporary.
Yeah.
Be able to get your stuff back together. So, like I said, I pretty much go through the top places that people have their expenses, and just try to give them actionable ways to be able to mitigate those risks. And so, like one of the other things I talk about is like the money jar method, where you might have
Mm-hmm.
6 different accounts, and every single account you kind of like put money into, and everything's kind of like dedicated for a certain thing. So a certain pot is dedicated strictly for bills, another one's dedicated strictly for entertainment, another one is strictly for maybe like education, another one is strictly for your rent, and then another one might be just strictly for saving. So like having a different pot,
Mm.
you put a certain percentage of your check into every single one, and if, depending on what type of job you have, if you do automatic deposits, um, shoot, take the human
Yeah.
emotions out of it, it automatically does it, and then all of a sudden look 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, and then you're happy with how your accounts are growing because you're able to save without truly having to physically do the work of saving money because you
Yeah,
automated it.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's absolutely critical because a lot of people in our community, we just don't like doing that, or we just don't want to do it for some reason. And I think it's absolutely critical what you said. That's a gem in itself to have different bank accounts set up, or different accounts set up in a way where it's dedicated for entertainment, and if you want to go out specifically for bills and whatnot. So I think that's absolutely amazing. Um, do you want to talk more about the Black Sea Group and what you guys have got going on over there?
Yeah, so I mean, with the Black Sea Group, it's something that at the end of the day, hopefully, once I'm done with everything, it's kind of like
Mm,
a Blackstone, right? Where we're able to do everything. You
mm,
give us your money, we're able to invest in the stock market. We want to have a crazy big real estate portfolio. We want to be able to acquire different businesses and grow in that route. So we want to be like that full fledged like hedge fund, private
mm,
equity, all that stuff all in one. So Black Seed, it kind of like started off about that 3 year time mark, and
mm,
started off with the stock side of things. So I had an investment club. Started off, you invest $50 to $100 a month. Um, we were able to grow that up until March of this year. COVID
mm,
actually is the reason why we ended up shutting down the stock side of the investment club, just due to the platform we were using. They couldn't get the people that were funding them. They weren't wanting to take the risk anymore for that.
mm,
So they had to, in a sense, shut down their U.S. operations, which kind of sucked because like their services, their app, the platform was actually a really good platform, and no one else has really been able to implement. So I mean, hopefully someone ends up doing it.
mm,
But yeah, but I mean, even though we shut down, I was able to, in a sense, get everybody that invested with me a return of up to 46%. So
got you.
I was pretty proud about that. I was able to, in a sense, allow people who've never invested before to be able to invest before, learn the process, learn about the stock market, and then not only invest with us, but also open up their own personal brokerage accounts and be able to invest
Mm,
by themselves. So those were awesome things that for me I'm proud about because it's changing someone else's family
mm,
trajectory as far as like wealth building goes. I did a similar situation where I purchased a home with a few other people. So I like went over to the real estate side with
mm,
that. Um, and I created a, SEC fund called the Black Sea Revitalization Fund, where the intent is to raise $5 million and then go into these inner city neighborhoods and fix up a lot of those homes. But instead of kicking out the people in the neighborhoods, we could put some of these homes in on Section 8 or whatever the case is and still make it affordable. So that way, people aren't, being kicked out. And on the other hand, your
mm,
investment still good because it's backed in a sense by the government if we do go the like
mm,
Section 8 route. So, you know, being able to create a social impact, that's how that fund is going. And so COVID kind of like messed up some of the pitching as far as my returns. But I hope in 2021 I'm able to kind of like hit the ground running and get more investors in that side
mm,
because that side is more so of a like a $20,000 investment for
mm,
plus. And so like the people that are able to do that, it's that pool is a little bit
mm,
smaller. Um, but yeah, I mean that's with Black Seed, I'm just trying to make it a community where we're able to allow people to realize the full potential through the wealth building
Mm,
process, and starting to sell courses as far as like the real estate version of things, and yeah, continue to grow it that way. I'm also doing like a
mm,
certification program. So if you're wanting to be like a level one certified real estate investor, I have a certification program coming out in probably like the next 2 weeks that
mm.
allows you to, in a sense, be Black Seed certified. So I'm excited
Gotcha.
about releasing that. Obviously, I have a course if you're looking to buy your first rental property. Um, I have a course that's $97 right now on blackseeduniversity.com, and all the spreadsheets that I use, all
Mm,
the all of that stuff that I use, I put it in that course. So
mm.
a lot more value than $100 for sure. But if someone
Absolutely.
also have the capital and they're kind of lazy, I have like the one-on-one coaching where I kind of walk someone through their first deal to get a rental property. So my thing
Mm.
is trying to get cash flowing property versus like doing a fix and flip or something
Yeah.
of that nature.
Yeah. My question to you is how does one build a community up enough where they can trust you with their money?
Um, I I think that you just got to start small. When I
Mm,
first started the investment club, these are 24 people joined up immediately, and these are people that just trusted me. And
mm,
so um, from there, obviously, like I'm a transparent person. I'm a trustworthy person. So like my name is what's most important to me. So doing the right thing and being like transparent and being able to communicate what's going on, like that has allowed people to say, oh, I'm doing this. I'm investing in this club. You should look into it. You should
mm.
try it out. And then the word of mouth has kind of like helped people like jump on board with what I'm doing. Because I'm so far, I've been proud to say, like, you've invested with me. Let's knock on wood. You haven't lost money with me. So,
You got to return.
right.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. So while you created the Black Seed Group, you also created Phenyx Athletica.
Right.
You want to talk more about that? I was on you guys' website, or I think I was watching a video, and you guys said something pretty dope. You guys said you guys are an advocate of mental health.
Mhm.
So you guys want to talk about what you got going on over there, and just some of the things that you guys are offering.
Yeah. So with Phenyx Athletica, I mean, I started it because it kind of goes back to the ownership thing, right?
Mm,
I wanted to rock, that's my own brand.
mm,
You see the Nikes, the Adidas, the Pumas, and it's like, yeah, that's all nice and it's very good material and all that stuff, but it ain't mine. You know what I
mm.
mean? And so I kind of like,
Talk about it.
the biggest thing for me is quality, and I made sure like everything that I put out is all great quality, and so with Phenyx, man, that has been it's been 2 years now that I kind of like been in that process, and it's been a headache because I learned
Mm,
a headache, but it was a good headache, right? So because
mm,
I've learned so much, from Phenyx that has allowed me to become, in a sense, successful with like launching the Zion, the beer care company.
mm.
So like some of the mistakes that I had was like, for example, ordering so much inventory and not really having that marketing plan in place to sell that
Mm.
inventory. So for the longest, I was just like, I bought like $10,000 worth of gear
Wow.
and just sitting on it. Like
Just
I
sitting.
sold it to, my close knit friends I was supporting and stuff like that. But past that, ain't nobody else is buying it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So, from there, I kind of learned like, if you do something in the future, maybe start off with one product, make sure it's going well before you invest even more money that way. Obviously, you want influencers kind of like promoting your stuff as well. And then just in a sense, learning ads. Like ads is one
mm-hmm.
of the things that I've been doing most recently that um, I've been converting a bit with, especially Zion. And now that with Phenyx, one of the things I'm doing is offering supplements like pre-workouts, BCAAs, turmeric, like a focus pill as well.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, these are the things I know I can run ads and hopefully be able to
Mm.
generate more revenue than apparel, because the apparel
Mm.
industry is tough. It's tough.
It
Like
is.
it's really tough, and While I can't say like, oh, you're not going to be successful in it, you just want to be able to find things that can mitigate it until you build that community
Mm.
of people that will always, because you like for me, I would like a community that is like Lululemon. That's like a cult. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what you do, like they're stuck with them.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm
Facts.
with Phenyx is definitely a process. We just went through another rebrand where we're more heavier so on like the ownership entrepreneur side of things. And so like we started catering into that and restructuring the website. And then that came alongside with
Mm.
offering some of these supplements like the focus pills, to provide to our customers and just the people that kind of like follow
Mm.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about running ads, man, even though you may not be converting sometimes, or maybe sometimes you're converting, the biggest thing about it is that you're getting that data
Mhm.
and you're allowing, I'm sure you're running it on Facebook. You're allowing Facebook to get that data, and eventually you'll get your target audience, and you'll be able to, send any type of ad to them, and they'll buy it. You know what I'm saying?
And that was the thing, right? Like in the beginning, I didn't have a Facebook pixel set up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
get data, I would get, sometimes I'll get a rush of people come to the site. They don't buy anything, but now I can't retarget them because I didn't have a pixel set up or Google Analytics set up to know
Hmm.
what the hell is on my site. So like
Absolutely.
that's some of the stuff that I've been able to learn over this past year that
Mm.
has been able to assess me in my growth in these businesses.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Zion Beard Care. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? I was looking at your guys' products. I was like, man, I might have to get some for my beard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I always have a great beard. My business partner kind of approached me about it. I think he tried to start it up with someone else. They weren't really, about it, or like the product that was trying to, go with
Hmm.
wasn't that great. Um, and for me, one of the things at the time that I was missing was kind of like having that quote unquote influencer or someone that can
Hmm.
like boost it, because for him, he had a fairly decent size social media following. So for us, I was like, okay, if I go ahead and do and in a sense work with you, because on the back end of things, I could do this all day, every day of my sleep, sourcing the products, setting up the website, literally everything on the back end I could do. I don't need anybody to do it, but the marketing side of things, the influencer side of things, running ads and stuff, that isn't my forte. So that's stuff like I would have to have someone come in and help me out with. And so for him, with him having that like social media presence, I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable enough to work with you on this, just because, like at the beginning, like I said, like the things I learned from Phenyx, I was able to relate it over to Zion. Because like with him, he wanted to go a full blown line of all these
Hmm.
products, and I was like, no. Let's,
Hmm.
I'm like, let's start off. Let's start off with one thing. We'll start off with the beer.
Yeah, the beer butter. Yeah.
Make sure that goes well. And if it goes well, from the profits, we'll be able to, one, buy more beer butter, and then two, um, be able to start, use some of the profits to run ads. And so, the beer butter actually did well. One of the things that kind of sucked that we found out was, we actually launched this back in June, so it was the middle of the summer heat, and some of the people that would get their beer butters, someone will receive it melted, and so that was
Oh.
one of the things we were like, man, like this sucks. Like, what can we do? We're trying to figure out a way. We tried a lot of things. We bought like ice cooler packs and stuff and stuffed it in the mailer. Nothing worked in a sense to like seal everything off because we were having these custom made. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So what we ended up having to do was pivoting. We said, all right, we're not gonna go ahead and sell these anymore until the fall when it gets cooler. So literally,
Mm.
until this week, we didn't start reselling some of this stuff. So when I
That's
said
smart.
pivoting, was able to find, introduce more products in our line, such as the beard oil,
The oils, yeah.
These hair, we have these hair growth gummies, and so now we went from a beard butter to now a three-line product. And because we kind of like took away the beard butter, now we're primarily the beard oil and the hair growth gummy, and then obviously we have like shirts and hats and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But those are the two main products. And so like around this time, we're getting to a point where his social media audience, like the followers that are going to buy, they pretty much bought what they needed to buy.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, let's test, some of these ads out. So, obviously we had a photo shoot, had all this, good content. And then had this one guy kind of like approach me to do ad work because he's done work for a bigger beard care company in the past. So I was like, you know what, let's go, let's try this out. So some of the ads that we were using for it started converting. So we were getting like three, 4 sales a day. And like I said, this is much different from with Phenyx, where I'm
Mhm.
like, it might be a week
Yeah.
before I get some sales. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, this is cool. So we've been able to um like get a good amount of sales from that, and then now most recently we've been able to add more products to our line. So now we have a beard balm. We have like more hair growth, like hair instead of the gummies, we have like a pill version of that.
Got you.
And yeah, so we've introduced those two products to our lineup. And now that we have a place to fulfill most of our stuff, we're gonna start ramping up the ads, especially now closer to holiday season. So hopefully
Mm.
we'll see some films. We'll close out fourth quarter pretty nice. Hopefully the ads return. But if they've done anything close to what they've
Mhm.
been doing in the past, we should be good.
No, that's dope. I love how you guys made that pivot. And to me, what you just said about the beer butter being only offered around the fall time, to me, it creates that exclusivity. Kind of like when you go to Starbucks, you get that pumpkin spice latte only around this time. So I can only imagine once you guys build up that community of people that love your product, they're going to be looking forward towards, the fall time when they can get their beer butter.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, something else that I wanted to talk to you about, man, is obviously you transitioned from the 9 to 5, the corporate world, to entrepreneurship. And there's a lot of people out there that are listening that they feel like they're kind of stuck in a hamster wheel. They're stuck living paycheck to paycheck. And they really want to break out of that cycle. They want to maybe do something else. Maybe they want to start something they're passionate about. What are some practical steps that you would recommend to those people out there that want to break out, that want to do something different, but they just feel like they're stuck in this wheel of just this cycle? You know what I'm saying?
Well, the first thing is you have to like stop being scared and just do things. You got to try it. You got to try, whatever it is you think will work. Just try it. It doesn't matter if you fail, because even if you do fail, now you have knowledge of what not to do for something else. Like for me, I've always been about action. So like that's never been an issue of me trying new stuff. Like we have a good idea now, I'm ready to go and test it out immediately,
Mm.
even if it's a dud. So like if you are in the corporate world, I would say this, like I'm a different situation than most people. Obviously, well, not say obviously like everybody, but like for most part, most people don't want to be working at a 9 to 5. Some people do like their job. That's fine too. Maybe you're at a place where it's manageable, it's tolerable.
Mm.
You don't want to quit too soon. Like me, I needed to. It doesn't matter, but for most people, you don't want to quit too soon because one, you're going to lose out on health insurance. Health insurance is expensive, and
Mm.
and
Facts.
two, it's like your 9 to 5 is able to, in a sense, fund some of this other stuff on the side,
Yep.
because I think that everybody should have like some kind of small, even if it's a small side hustle, small side business that kind of makes money. And so one thing people need to understand is they need to package the brain. There's something that that other people are willing to pay you for. Whether you make a guide, an ebook, a video webinar, turn it into a course, whatever the case is, how you package it is how you package it. But there's something in your brain that that other people don't know. So you need to go ahead and figure out what that is, even if it's something silly. It doesn't matter if 10 people on your timeline do the exact same thing you know how to do, you might be able to explain it better than those 10 people can.
Mm,
So don't be afraid just because you think, oh, the market's saturated. No, fuck. I mean, forget that. Like, it doesn't matter. Just go ahead and do it and package your brain, because there's always something that you can teach somebody that can make you some kind of revenue. Because now you can be like a consultant. You know what I mean? Like, people, someone might pay you $100 for an hour of your time. You know, like I said, like with the book, like I don't have to ever do anything with that. Like, I just tell people, oh, buy my financial, literacy book, and boom, I wrote it one time, and I don't have to worry about updating or anything of that
mhm.
sort. Kind of going again. So yeah, definitely package your brain so that digitally you do it one time, but now it's up to how you market it, on how you're able to get that recurring revenue
Yep.
afterwards with ads and all the
Yeah.
other stuff. Another thing you could do is like affiliate marketing. So say someone has a product that's pretty good that you tried. They might have, the owner might have an affiliate code, 30%, 50%, or whatever the case is. And so, maybe how to do ads well. So you create certain ads and then have your affiliate code in. And so now he's getting all these sales, but you getting a piece of those sales. And that's a way for you to kind of like generate a little bit of revenue yourself as well. So like I said, I mean, it's pretty much just don't feel down on yourself. Don't think everybody has issues. Everybody has their own problems. No one's gonna feel sorry for you.
Mm,
Best thing you could do is, like I said, fail forward. Like, be able to try things out, be actionable. Don't have that analysis paralysis. You have to try things. You have to try things, or else you'll always be stuck there. You always be stuck with what you're where
mm.
you're at. So if you want to grow, you gotta try things.
You said package your brain. I love that. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Talk about the importance of investing in yourself and how has it helped you out, and what are some of the ways that you've invested in yourself?
Man, I mean, that's literally my brand. Like, that's me. Just like
Mm,
being able to always be a student
mm,
and just be able to learn. Like, it doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are in something, like someone can teach you something new. And
absolutely.
so, like, when it comes to investing in yourself, you can't be afraid to pay someone uh, to understand knowledge to get you where you need to go. Like, I'm
Mm,
not saying like, oh, say if you wanted to get into real estate and someone's like, oh yeah, 20K for a webinar, that's overboard. But if it's something where it's like $600, have a one-on-one consultation, might be a week long or how many sessions, if that person can help you get to whatever goal it is you're trying to get to, invest in yourself and pay for it. Like, how many people, are in debt due to college and are post college not working? They're not in anything that they were doing before. So if you're able to, in a sense, go into debt for that, go into debt for yourself, because the returns are going to be much more
mm,
greater than anything in college. Like, I was an engineer, and luckily I was able to graduate without any debt. But with that, I've invested, like I said, I've invested myself to where these next couple of years will prove everything that I've done, even though, like I said, I had a good job and have this degree and all this other stuff, these degrees and all this stuff. That's just a portion of things. Me investing myself, like, and when I say invest in myself, that's knowing how you're able to accumulate information.
mm,
So, like, for me, growing up, reading books was easy. When I hit college, I couldn't read anymore. For whatever reason, it was hard for me to truly read. Post college, um, me driving to work and stuff like that, I found out that audiobooks was my thing. As long as I could listen to it in the car, I can, get a lot of information in. So long road trips, going to and from work, that's what I was soaking in a lot of personal development books, a lot of real estate books. And that's where I've kind of like soaked in a lot of knowledge through there. So that's that investing in yourself thing I'm talking about. Like, put yourself in situations where being in the room where you want to be. Like, if it costs $200 to be in that room
mm.
where some of these people that you want to be, pay that $200, rub shoulder, like,
Facts.
what you have to do. Like, some people, they say, oh, I don't have money, I don't have this and that. I mean, you can find a way to get money.
Yeah,
Money
absolutely.
you can find, because like a lot of people, they say, oh, I don't have money, but then they're smoking weed every day, right?
Yeah.
They don't have money, but they're drinking, they're partying every single weekend. They don't have money, but they're somehow they got designer, blah blah blah. Blah.
Yeah,
So
and they say, and not to cut you off, like if your mother needed to get this surgery done and it cost you $20,000 and you had a month to get that 20, you're gonna figure out a way to get that 20.
right. So like with that, it's just kind of like I said, just you got to figure out a way to get in certain situations, and a lot of these situations aren't as expensive as you may think they are.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So like, free only takes you so far. Invest in yourself and pay for things that
mm,
will benefit you, and part of that is knowing what one can benefit you and what you actually like, what you're actually passionate about. um yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's really good. I know when I first found out about like audiobooks and podcasts, like we all have the app on our phone, but
Mhm.
for the longest time, I didn't even open it up. And I opened it up and, found a couple people I liked. I'm like, man, I felt like I struck gold. Like, am I the only one using this? Like, this is crazy. But yeah, man, I really appreciate your time. We can start wrapping this thing up. It's been a great episode. But before you go, I always have my guests leave one last piece of advice for my audience. It can be, business related, personal development, anything that you want to leave to the audience. You can let them know, and we can end it on that note.
Yeah, I mean there's a few things, just like always be accountable.
Mm,
Like, stuff will always go wrong, but figure out a way to understand how you could have done better. Even if it's not your fault, just figure out a way to kind of like make sure that if you're in a space where you're saying, okay, even though it's not my fault, it is my fault, and you're able to figure out what you can do better next time, then the onus, in a sense, I want to say karma is on you to do better next time. Another thing is document
mm,
everything, document your process. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things that's helped me over this past year and a half, that I think is very underrated and people don't understand, because if you document things, you're not able to understand, okay, if I'm doing a certain task, or I'm doing, whatever the case is, and I fail, okay, this is why I failed. Like, this is what I did, why I failed. Now you can, if you were to pursue it again, you know what to do differently. If you don't document it, you could be repeating the same mistakes and not know that you're repeating the same mistakes, right? So being able to just document everything that you do, and if you do document what you do, it makes it easier to then again package your brain. And when you package
mm,
your brain, now you're able to, in a sense, have something that you could sell without always having to, in a sense, be there or physically have to, sell. You know what I mean? So
mm.
document the process. Always be one to take accountability, and package your brain.
Boom. I love that. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, so Money Madu on Instagram, Real Money Madu on Twitter. You can follow my pages, Black Seed Group. That's both on social media, or sorry, both on Instagram and Twitter as
Mm.
well. Reworking my personal brand site, which would be moneymadu.com. But right now, if you wanted to see some information in regards to um, coursework or anything Black Seed, you can either go to blackseeduniversity.com or theblackseedgroup.com. And pretty much, like, I have consultations there. If you wanted to invest in real estate, or, just kind of like wanted to try to see what you could do to kind of like partner up with us, all that information is there in one site.
Dope, dope. I'll definitely leave all the links to your information, your social medias. I'll leave it into the link of this podcast. I appreciate your time once again. And on that note, it's your boy Chris, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.